Hey guys, Roman here. Doing the profit tutorial indicator for Sensei. This one here is based on order blocks. So these are horizontal zones that you want to be paying attention to based on price action itself. So we'll get into it. This one here at the top is just how many order blocks it displays per one. So CTF is current time frame, which is this section, and then multi-time frame is this section. Okay, so if you only want to see maybe 5 at a time, or take 10 at a time, you choose that here. The reason we have these available at the top is because this indicator uses a lot of processing power. That might lag your chart a little bit if you have a lot. So if you've got this, say, at 200, it's definitely not going to be a good time for you TradingView. So I'd highly recommend keep it under 50. We suggest under 50. Start there. Start there is a good place. If you need more, then use more, but just be aware of that, okay? So current time frame order blocks is based on this. So we tick this. So on the current time frame, it looks all the way back here. It's found these order blocks, okay? We can show again based on the percentage, like the what was it? The Oracle indicator, percentage away from price. So we want to change that to 20. We're going to get a bunch more of these levels. Where'd they disappear to? Not sure what's happened there. Okay, so it might have been this up here. So maybe I'll change it to 20. Color OB candle. That's the OB that we're currently on. When you use my manual colors, I always use my manual. These are default what I use. So you'll load with these colors too. The yellow is based on the Roy G. Biv, which is time frame based colors. Okay, so current time frame, show OBs within 10%. So these are the order blocks levels that we're interested in based on the daily time frame. We can choose the 15%. Alright, so we can see a confluent of indicators here gets darker. So there's one here, so it's got darker now. So we can see price rejected it when it first got to it, obtained it, took off, came back to it, bounced again, lost it, couldn't hold it, nuked. Okay, so we can see these levels get respected, right? These are based on order block and order flow. I'll just explain that real quick. So price is pushing up, right? So we've got several candles in a row going up. That's order flow, alright? So price is flowing. We get to a point where there's a single candle. This one actually closed as a black candle or a bearish candle, the green one here. And then that becomes an order block, alright? You can see when price pushed away from it, then the order flowing again. And then this is an order block, and back to flow again, okay? So that's how they work in a sense. They're usually good forms of support and resistance, as we can see here. This one here, price loved returning to it until it couldn't hold it anymore, right? So they work as a key level of support and resistance based on the time frame that you're on, or when you're using current time frame. So we're going to look at current price action on the say the 4 hour. We can see the chart's getting a bit busy, okay, because we're in a sideways range here, and there's not really order flow and order blocking. It's more of just this is the flow, and now we're consolidating. So when you're in the consolidation, usually moving averages, order blocks like this get formed. The order moving averages get tight. Bollinger Band gets tight because not a lot is happening, right? We're just bouncing backwards and forwards, maybe 10%, 8%, 6%, right? So there's bugger all happening. But in a decent trend, if we go and look at a decent trend here, we come flying up order flow, order block, right? We can see when price came back to it, it didn't want to lose that level. That was the key level, right? Order flow, order block, didn't lose that level. So definitely pay attention to these in their sense and understand how they work. They're usually a level that you want to pay attention to looking to long off or short from based on what price action does at that level. If you get an SFP through the order block, for instance, you've got a say a key level based on maybe a P candle. This is a P candle. We had an SFP come through, then close back above. So there's price action here. We SFP'd that, close back above. Maybe this is an order block. Sorry. That's an OB. We did that. Then we looked to long off that, right? Because it's washed it, it's held it, the bulls defended it, and we want to push back off that. So somewhat like, where are we? Maybe this level here, right? Good example. So order block, right? Price comes back to it. SFP, the previous price action. pushes up. That's exactly what I talked about right here. So that's a really common setup. That's how these auto blocks are quite powerful. But we'll come back to current price. They work on all time frames. We're in chop at the moment, so it's pretty hard to do up here. Maybe we'll come back to like bit of a downtrend market here. So this we'll go replay tool maybe here. See what loads. One moment. Here we go. Cool. So it's looking left, and it's found an order block. Right. Let's come back to what we've held once. Come back to what we're dancing with it now. You can also see that pushed up here, didn't lose it, pushed off this level here. Once we reobtained it, carried on. Came back and tested it, pushed on. Right. So you can see how price action goes with them. I mean, you can end up with quite a few when you're in a sideways range like this, which is where this tool comes in handy. Okay. So if you want to reduce the noise and just have it based on where current price is and not all the noise above, you'll find your chart loads quicker when it's based around this as well. Cool. So we'll just go back to current price. Maybe the 4 hour. Jump back into this. Cool. So that's change the colors of it here. It's got the same box as Oracle. The percentages. So you'll see this red box come in. Cool. Alright, so it'll show us all the order blocks based on that. We can change that by changing this to 100, and then maybe the percentage away, we make that 20. So that'll update, and this box will go smaller. So now we can only get order blocks within this range. So that's great. What this option here does is it shows the ones that are outside that box, okay? But it's only the outline of them. So we go and make this box maybe 5%. Maybe we should go 1%. Might have to be better. I'll let that load. So what we can see here is it's only highlighting the OB order block based around current price action. So it's got a key level it reckons through here, this range, which is usually just the center of the range when you're in the range. But the ones outside of that, we can see just the outline of them. Just helps keep your chart a bit cleaner. And shows you where these key levels are going to be if and when price comes up to it, like here for instance, or like here for instance, right? So the outline can also help you when that's happening, because if and when price starts pushing up, this box will actually start moving up as a whole as well, because it stays with price action based on the parameters that you select within this, right? So we can turn all that off. There are your colors. Underneath that we've got the multi-time frame. So exactly the same thing, but multi-time frame. You need to be aware when it comes to the P candles as well as the order blocks. Most of the order blocks though is that if you've got a multi-time frame on, and say you're on the 5 minute, and you want to see the 1 day as well, usually have quite a few issues on that, right? So what we suggest to do, instead of having on the 5 minute and the 1 day running, so this is on the 5 minute, your current time frame's on the 5, the multi-time frame's on the day. Instead of doing that, have the day as your current one, right? So we're on the daily. Get rid of these tools, and then come in and draw over top of these levels. This is our workaround without it crashing. So that's it. That's a really key level we want to pay attention to, right? Because we had a really perfect example of order flow, order block, order flow. So when we come back to it, we bounced, we're dancing through it. Ideally, we hold this level. So if we go back and have a look now on the 5 minute, based on what we drew, right, that's that level. So instead of having the indicator overload and crash, most likely crash to here, it's trying to load the multi-time frame at the moment, the 1 day. So it's letting you know the current time frame is too low and the current multi-time frame is too large. It's saying please draw manually, which is what we just did, to work around that, because I don't think TradingView has the resources on their server end to be able to load that kind of demand that we're trying to request with that. And the rest just works the same way. But if you're on the 4 hour and this is on the 1 day, so we'll tick that on, go OK. We'll jump on to the 4 hour. We'll delete my drawing tools, right? We'll just increase the price for the, say, the multi-time frame ones. We want to see a lot of those ones within, say, 50% of the price. but the current time frames we only want within them to be 5% of the price. Alright. I'm going to go OK to that. When it loads, we can see that there's a small one here, right? And then there's bigger ones from a different time frame. See how it's got the wick there? I don't know how well you can see that. Maybe we'll just zoom in. So order blocks are candle bodies. This has actually grabbed the wick, so it's actually grabbing from a different time frame. Again here as well, right? So these ones here are actually from a different time frame. And then the small ones that are within 5% of price, these are from the current time frame. Okay. Cool. Let's get rid of that. Pretty straightforward. And then you just click your colors. If you want to override the colors that it comes by default, just click this and then choose your color. Okay. You can change the colors here that appear by default, and then you can also save those as templates. So if you don't want the Roy G. Biv approach, you can actually then change it to how you like and then save that. Then we've got also the alerts that come off this indicator, which is on the current time frame order block, right? So if price comes back to it, you get an alert. Or comes back to a multi-time frame one, you get an alert. If you get a pin bar, so if you got this ticked and that ticked, it's going to enforce that it'll only alert you if it was a pin bar when it touched this level, right? And then you've also got the bullish and bearish candles based on that as well. So what you could do is have a current time frame ticked, enforce pin bars tick, and a bullish candle tick. So what that does is, if and when price comes down to the order block, first it has to be a pin bar, come back up, and it has to close green as well, and then that's the alert. So it's saving you from getting bad alerts or less accurate signals, right? Because a pin bar that goes through an order block and then closes back above it, like we saw earlier, like this guy, and say that was our order block through here. That's perfect, right? That's the perfect. You want to know about that so you can get long quickly, and then you can see that reaction that everyone wanted to get long quickly, right? That's exactly what we're just talking about here. That's a perfect example of it live there, right? So we can actually probably use this replay tool. Where's the replay? And come back here, jump down to the 5 minute, and watch how this played out. So first on that order block we're looking at, we can see prices dancing in it, right? It's just mucking around in this particular range. Huge SFP through here, reclaims trend. It's telling you to get long on the 5 minute around here, right? This is your entry. But the 1 hour, whatever time frame we were just on, didn't close until it was up here. So the alert would then come in here saying, hey, look, get in. You missed the SFP on the low time frame, but on the time frame we were just looking at, the 1 hour, I think it was. Yeah, the 1 hour has locked in. It's bullish. We closed back above the previous range here. Close back above the previous pin bar there, right? They're saying get long. So that's how that works, okay? Fantastic addition by Hazer. And then you've also got the same thing, like add current time frame order block for the alert, and then alert multi-time frame order block. Alright, so pretty straightforward. I'll wrap that one up and upload that. Cheers.